Hey, it's Brent Whistler, author of The Startup Self-Check, here to read you chapter 6, Habits and Focus, one of my favorite chapters in this book. And I kind of estimate, I'm not sure where I got this number, but I feel like about 60% of founders of startups are ADHD, as I am. And so if you don't live and die by systems and habit to keep you focused, then you may get consumed by the chaos. So let's get into it. Habits and focus. So I'll show you the picture on the first page. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Why habits matter more than hustle. Let's start with a common founder fantasy. Once I get through this launch, project, client sprint, whatever, I'll finally get organized. We've all told ourselves some version of that, but here's the truth. If you're always relying on hustle, you'll eventually burn out or break down. What gets you to 6 figures might be adrenaline. What gets you to sustainability, though, is a habit. That's why this chapter is less about crushing your to-do list and more about designing the engine that keeps you going without having to white knuckle it every week. So Brent's thoughts, TM. I had an ice cream shop once, and I resisted the urge to just operate the whole thing on paper like all my neighbors. It would have been the easiest thing to do in the very short term, but going the extra step to install a point of sale system saved me so much frustration and also foiled a couple of theft attempts. I'm definitely guilty of letting terrible systems live for too long. Try not to do that. Because energy isn't just about motivation, it's about infrastructure. You are what you repeat, and if you repeat chaos, you build burnout. Whether or not you realize it, your current habits are already shaping your outcomes. The question is, are they doing it on purpose? Founders often default to what we might call urgency loops. Waking up reactive, working in stress cycles, finishing the day depleted, but unsatisfied. We think we have a productivity problem. What we really have is a systems problem. Habits are the leverage point. They're small, repeatable patterns that stack into identity. They create space for focus to thrive and give your creativity a predictable container to show up in. And the good news, you don't need a 40-step morning routine with crypto chambers and turmeric shots. You just need a few well-chosen anchors. I want to stop there and just say, like, this isn't in the book, but for me personally, I'm not very good at always being repeatable. I do have some systems that I depend on. Shameless plug, BuildRunKit is one of them. Like, that's actually where I keep all my strategy and tasks, and that's what keeps me kind of aware of what I've accomplished and what I need to do. But I have a very simple habit in the morning when I get to my desk, just on old-fashioned paper with an old-fashioned pen. I just write down like 3 to 5 things that I want to get done today, and that really helps because I can feel successful if I just get those things done. So let's continue. So we'll get to those. But first, let's talk about the brain in the founder's head. For many of us, it doesn't operate like a textbook. Entrepreneurs are overrepresented in the neurodivergent crowd, especially with ADHD. You may not have a formal diagnosis, but if any of this sounds familiar, constant idea generation but scattered execution, hyper-focus 1 minute, brain fog the next, urgent equals interesting, boring equals impossible. Dopamine is your actual operating system. Systems that work for 3 days and then implode. Welcome to the club. So, Brent's thoughts, TM. Hashtag triggered. Nope. Brain definitely not a textbook. Yes, stereotypically ADHD. My leg is moving a mile a minute as I type. It's a superpower, though. It just needs to be harnessed. So ADHD isn't a flaw, it's a founder trait. You're likely a fast pattern recognizer. You spot connections others don't. You're driven by curiosity, creativity, and momentum. But your default brain also resists rigid structure. It craves novelty. It wants a reward now, not 30 days from now. The trick isn't to fix your brain, it's to design around it. So before I go on from that, let me just be the first person maybe in your life to tell you that what you're dealing with, and this is not in the book, or maybe it is. We'll see later. What you're dealing with is a superpower. Like, it really is. I think people with ADHD are some of the smartest, most creative people in the world, and they're so productive. But you have to manage your conditions, and by conditions I mean your environment, and just be aware of your strengths and how to kind of shepherd yourself into success. So Brent's thoughts, TM, like the ones that are in the book. What's working for me right now is to let my unbridled thoughts flow as much as I dare. Scribbling notes in the strategy hub as fast as they come to me. Coupled with that is a little bit of structure. I identify 3 to 4 things that are non-negotiable that I have to get done today. That's sort of what I was talking about earlier. This approach works for me because I have lots of lists. I can always find something to work on as I procrastinate about doing something else. Procrastination is like my dirty little pleasure. So everything eventually ends up getting done. So how to build focus systems for a fast brain. Let's make this practical. Whether you're formally diagnosed or just ADHD adjacent, these strategies can change your daily rhythm. So time boxing plus visual timers. Break your day into short, clear blocks. Use timers you can see. The ADHD brain often can't feel time unless it's visible. Work on newsletter for 25 minutes is better than write newsletter. Work beside someone, even virtually. This is not in a book, but I just want to mention that there are applications out there, and I can't remember the name of one off the top of my head, that actually allow you to do co-working virtually. So they randomly assign you to somebody, or you pick somebody or whatever, and you both just work, and maybe you're having a little chit chat, but you're focused pretty much on doing what you have to do, and that's sort of like a way to have an accountability partner. I do it by having a chat window open with my 2 employees. They're not always around, but just pinging back and forth with them can keep me on track and keep me steady. Anyway, so back to reading. The presence of another person, real or implied, can massively increase task follow-through. Try a co-working call, or even play a study with me video. Brent's thoughts, TM. Accountability partners are my zero to hero, because I guess I don't care enough to be accountable to myself. But if I have stated an intention to someone else, I owe it to that person to do what I said I would do, even though they probably don't care. And just as an aside, that's so sad that I can't depend on myself. Like, I can't be accountable to myself. But just be honest about it. And if you need to have somebody else involved, do it. So let's go on to dopamine safe rewards. Set micro rewards for task completion, but make them nourishing. For example, a 10-minute walk, a coffee refill, a playlist switch, a tiny square of chocolate. Avoid overloading on sugar, scrolling, or shopping dopamine that crashes you. I wish I could say I always heed that advice. Chunk your tasks by mode. Don't just work by priority. Group your tasks by cognitive mode. Creative, like writing or brainstorming. Administrative, inbox or CRM. Visual, like design, layout, that kind of work. Social, calls and interviews. Switching less equals better focus. Don't reinvent how to start your day every day. Have a default startup ritual. Even something as simple as make tea, open to-do list, pick one deep task, 30-minute timer. Can train your brain to enter focus mode with less resistance. So ADHD isn't the problem, or systems are. Great founders don't avoid structure, they customize it. That's why we don't start with discipline, we start with design. Up next, let's talk about Keystone habits, morning rituals, and what your body might be trying to tell you about your brain's focus fuel. Keystone habits and morning energy rituals. Not all habits are created equal. Some habits create a ripple effect, making other positive behaviors easier or automatic. These are called Keystone habits, and they're the secret back door to transformation. Examples. Regular sleep results in better mood, willpower, and focus. Daily journaling, I don't do this by the way, it can lead to emotional processing and better decisions. Morning movement leads to energy, reduced stress, and increased idea flow. Clean desk leads to mental clarity and fewer distractions. So find the one or two keystones that unlock yourself, your best self, and protect them like gold. So I just mentioned that I don't do that thing. There is a whole list of things there, though. I do have some habits, and those were just examples. But kind of like the repeatability is pretty key there. So just create some small habits in your life. So Brent's thoughts, TM, back to the book. I'm not going to lie and say I practice what I preach all the time, but I do clean my desk whenever I can get myself to do it. It feels almost as good as a haircut. Also, letting out some free-form brainstorms early in the morning keeps my brain wrung out and lets me be a lot more at ease during the day. So the power of morning rituals. Your morning is the foundation of your focus. And no, you don't need to wake up at 4:30 a.m. and drink buttered coffee and do 37 push-ups in a cold shower. But you do need some kind of intentional launch sequence. The first 30 minutes of your day can either ground you or scatter you. Here are some founder-tested morning energy rituals you can steal or adapt. The 5-minute reset. Hydrate, open the blinds, breathe for 60 seconds, choose your one priority, put your phone in a drawer. The 3-line journal. 1 sentence of gratitude, 1 sentence about how you feel, 1 sentence about what matters most today. The silent walk. 10 to 15 minutes, no podcast, no phone. Let your brain wander, reset, untangle. The deep start. First 90 minutes, deep work, no messages, no Slack, no inbox, no meetings. Set a single clear goal and hit go. The ritual itself is less important than its consistency. The goal is to signal to your brain it's time to be present, focused, and aligned. Mini exercise. Design your morning start sequence. What's the minimum viable morning that gets you centered and intentional? Write it down, test it for a week, and refine it. If you're already using a tool like a habit tracker or a planner, make this a checkbox. Clean fuel, diet, movement, and substances. You can have the best intentions in the world, but if your brain is running on sludge, you'll feel it. This isn't a wellness sermon. It's just founder math. Clean fuel equals better clarity, stamina, mood regulation, and decision making. Let's not start beating green leaves to death and making smoothies, unless you're into that. But let's maybe at least trade off the Fruit Loops for oatmeal and fresh fruit. So, caffeine, sugar, and the dopamine roller coaster. A little caffeine gives you a boost. Too much maybe gives you a jittery start and an afternoon crash. Combine it with hydration, protein, and fat to stabilize. Sugar, especially refined carbohydrates, can spike and tank your energy. Keep it slow and steady when you need long focus blocks. So, alcohol, even just a little. One drink might take the edge off at night, but the cost is often next day fog. Sleep quality suffers, brain recovery lags, focus gets dull. That one glass of wine may be costing you a clear morning of creativity. If clarity is the goal, experimenting with lower or no alcohol periods is worth exploring, even for a week or two. So if you thought when I said alcohol even just a little, and this is not in the book, if you thought by me saying alcohol even just a little was something I was suggesting that you try, it's quite the contrary. It's something that I'm suggesting that you maybe don't even need in your life. So back to the book. Brent's thoughts, TM. I feel compelled to mention that 5 months into abstinence from alcohol, I'm down 30 pounds, that's 13 kilos. I'm keeping more promises to myself. I'm more creative and productive than I have ever been. It wasn't like I was a problem or blackout drinker, but it was every goddamn day. I'm 54. I thought I was just getting fat and old and mentally slow, and that knee pain was just the new normal. Boy, did I drop a decade and a pant size in short order. I can't think of anything beer's done for me, and I don't really miss the ritual of it. So I guess I'm a teetotaler now and forever. I'll tell you a secret. BuildRunKit in this book series 100% would not exist if I hadn't stopped drinking. All this craziness requires all spark plugs to be firing. So, movement equals mental maintenance. Exercise doesn't just shape your body, it tunes your brain chemistry. Endorphins equal natural antidepressants. Movement equals better sleep, lower anxiety. Walking equals literal boost in creativity, proven in studies. I don't know which ones. Even 10 minutes of stretching or pacing can shift your focus state. Fasting, the founder reset tool. For some, light intermittent fasting improves mental clarity and energy. Used strategically, it can reduce inflammation, improve focus windows, and increase emotional regulation. Important, this isn't for everyone and shouldn't be used in place of nourishment or medical care. But for founders prone to fog or fatigue, it's a lever worth pulling. So here's my anti-crash sports drink plus focus fast. So not focus fast, but like fast for the focus. So this isn't medical advice. Consult your doctor. Over the years, I've realized I'm either in flow or I'm spiraling. There's rarely an in between. One of the best things I ever did for my brain and body was creating a simple hydration plus fasting routine that keeps me steady during deep work. Here's my go-to sports drink. I felt great all through a 36-hour fast with just this. So I'm gonna show you I'm not sure that's gonna show up well on the screen. So anyway, I guess you'll have to buy the book so you can get the recipe. So a DIY electrolyte drink with potassium citrate, 2 cups water or coconut water for extra potassium, a 1/4 teaspoon regular salt, a 1/4 teaspoon potassium citrate, a 1/4 teaspoon of magnesium citrate for muscle recovery and relaxation, a 1/2 teaspoon lemon or lime juice for flavor and vitamin C, 1/8 teaspoon of baking soda helps balance out the acids, stevia to taste, optional for sweetness. So try that. I like that sports drink, and it's so much better than buying those energy drinks that they sell in the store, which are kind of garbage. So your body isn't just cargo, it's your clarity vessel. This isn't about perfection, it's about awareness. Start asking, what food, drinks, and rhythms give me clarity? What sabotages my focus, even if it tastes good in the moment? Start subtracting what's dulling your edge, and you'll feel it faster than you think. Mind training, visualization, and mental reset. Focus doesn't just live in your schedule. It lives in your mindset and your nervous system. Let's be honest. Founders juggle stress, uncertainty, and a million mental tabs. Sometimes the thing we need most isn't more willpower, it's a reset. Mental hygiene for founders. Here's a thought. What if you treated your brain like your inbox? Cleared it out regularly, filed what mattered, let go of junk. That's where tools like self-hypnosis, visualization, and micro-mindfulness come in. Not as woo, but as maintenance. So Brent's thoughts, TM. Would you believe in 2008, when I quit smoking, it was self-hypnosis that finally worked? I mean, it really worked. To this day, I revile the smell of cigarette smoke. Anyway, all that was just to say self-hypnosis. And these other techniques, they really work. It's not just kind of woo-woo. Back to the book. 2-minute mental practices. You don't need to mediate on a mountain. You just need small rituals that restore your mental operating system. So mental rehearsal. Before a task, a big task, close your eyes and visualize doing it smoothly. Hear the words, see the screen, feel the results. This trains your nervous system to approach the task with calm confidence. Breath reset, box breathing. Inhale 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale 4, and hold for 4. And repeat that 3 times. This grounds your attention and resets emotional overdrive. Scene setting ritual. Pick one playlist or scent that signals focus mode. Light a candle, press play, open your project. You're using sensory cues here to condition your brain to enter flow faster. So sidebar, your clarity toolkit. Here's a menu to build your own mini ritual. Noise canceling headphones, focus playlist, ritual center object, power pose or movement before meetings, for example. 1-word mantra, clarity, create, lead, whatever it is. 20-minute timer, reset, repeat. Pick 2 or 3. Keep them handy. This is your reset protocol. So here's the build your founder focus stack with Keystone habits at the center, better sleep, focus, confidence, and money choices. So let's tie it all together. You've now got a pile of ideas, habits, systems, rituals. How do you use them? Answer. You build your focus stack, a personal operating center for energy and attention. What's in a focus stack? Think of it like layers that support your best self. One layer is morning setup. Create intentional energy. Examples of that are journaling, hydration, walk, and deep work. Workday structure, focus blocks, and boundaries. That could be time boxing, no call days, or theme blocks. Reset rituals. Recover clarity after distraction. So that can be your breath work, stretching, walking, or setting a playlist. Recovery habits. Protecting long-term performance. So that can be sleep, screen limits, no alcohol sprints. Safeguards. Minimize sabotage or chaos. So that can be app blockers. Hate those things. whiteboards, or body doubling. This isn't a one-size-fits-all system. Your focus stack should match your life, your brain, your mission. Mine pretty much consists of coffee and the occasional break to read Reddit posts. Give me a break. I've given up so much already. So much of this comes for free to me now. Less anxiety, better sleep, less doom scrolling, more walking, healthier eating, courtesy of not drinking. Start small. Pick one ritual in each layer, test it, tweak it, make it yours. The goal isn't discipline, it's rhythm. So the focus stack builder, write yours down. My best morning begins with, my deepest focus happens when I lose focus, I reset with, at night, I protect clarity by, my biggest distraction safeguard is, so wrap up and preview of chapter 7. You now have a system for showing up consistently, not just when you feel like it. You've learned that habits beat hustle, that ADHD isn't a flaw, it's a feature with the right scaffolding, that morning rituals, clean fuel, and clarity tools are the foundation of focused leadership, that you don't need 37 hacks, you just need your 3 to 5 rituals that work. This isn't about becoming a robot. It's about aligning your days with who you're becoming. The founder you want to be already lives inside of you. These systems are just how you let them out every day. So I won't go into the preview of chapter 7, so you just have to stay tuned for that, or go to the links in the bio, links in the description, and just purchase your own copy of the Startup Self-Check and learn all sorts of things about how to prepare your mindset and take a personal inventory and really get ready before you decide to embark on the journey of entrepreneurship. So I hope to see you on Sunday at 10 a.m. for the the Frenzied Founder podcast, and we'll see you then. Have a good day.